macro-oriented mid laner. Twisted Fate's playable, but I think Ryze is definitely a lot more consistent. The Rumble to Yunara and the Azir still taken off the board for AL. They don't want to change anything up, and why would they? But you know what that means? Varus is let through for Gala. That's huge.
All right, he's going to have some utility there. Wonder which build he's going to go with, the on-hit or the lethality side build, but do really like this first pick for them, but they got to make it worth it. So far, both first picks have not paid dividends for IG. They really need to set up, especially Way, for success moving forward. And this time, AL, I think they're not going to wait until that second phase to see what that matchup is going to be like in terms of what they want to get for strength. And it is going to be the Renekton that has been banned away every other game by IG in the second phase.
IG is terrified of Flandre's Renekton, and we are going to get a chance to see why in this game. It's already a really nice start. You can already dive onto the low mobility Varus onto the backline if you get that good position. Renekton should be strong in lane, but one of the picks I've been highlighting all series long is still up on the board in the Trundle. Poppy and Trundle, to me, are kind of the big picks for both of these teams. I'm surprised this has made it this far into the Fearless series, but Tarzan will be taking that troll into the jungle. Renekton Trundle is a very strong start to the draft from a combat perspective.
I am shaking in my boots a little bit for IG. They really got to come up with some great combinations here for their draft, and especially exiting this first phase of it. I need to see Way with something to combat this Trundle. Find anything against this guy, or he's just going to run the jungle like he has 2 games in a row earning MVP. They're going to belay that. They're going to wait for Way, and they're going to grab the Jace and the Rel already.
Yeah, this is TheShy's Jace, so we are definitely seeing more and more priority put onto the first team all-pro top laner for us throughout this year in TheShy. And you know what? I don't hate this. I like this, I guess, strategy adjustment is the word I'd use. TheShy kind of been put on weak side, champions throughout the entirety of this series, just kind of left to his own devices. He finally gets something he can pilot.
You called it.
But Shanks
on those assassins. Are we
going to
see the adaptation?
Here we go.
All right, so Shanks is going to have a little bit more of those resources delved his way. They're going to try to pick apart that mid lane matchup a little bit more as well. The TF going to be the first ban of the second phase by AL.
Yeah, TF, again, that kind of next priority down on those macro-oriented mids. Now you're really getting to a point where it's like, okay, what actually answers the Akali that's left? A lot of the things that want to shove and move out of the lane and kind of negate a lot of her combat power, they're all off the board. So it's becoming pretty difficult to find a really good answer to it. We'll see what ends up being the response from IG for Rookie. It's a huge game for him, and he's been put in a very interesting spot. But it's LeBlanc as well. No, you're just taking away a lot of the comfort picks for Rookie at this point. His most played champion that's still up is the Victor with 3 games. Do you really want to play Victor into Akali? Victor Varus as well, 2 low mobility champions into that assassin. That feels a little bit scary. After that, you're getting to Sylas, Ahri, some more aggressive picks. It's definitely putting Rookie a bit more in the spotlight here, something he's kind of shied away from in the first 2 games.
Especially that's something we got to talk about, because this is a guy, I call him the bodyguard for a lot of his teams that he's seen over the last couple of years, because he is the guy you have to pass to get in a lot of the time. He is the guy that's setting the standard for a lot of the teams that he's been on, and he's been quiet as hell this series, which can't happen against Shanks, especially a guy that's up and coming and finding a lot of promise of his own. So we'll see what he ends up grabbing in this second phase here, but the MF is going to come through for Hope. So you do have a lot of that layered wombo combo, and I'm sure Kael is going to be cooking with this final pick.
Yeah, there are so many things that can set up this Misfortune that are very creative, very unique. We'll see if he wants to go for one of the more standard ones or perhaps kind of venture outside the box like we know he can. But as I mentioned, those aggressive melee picks, that kind of has to be the answer, and it will be the Sylas locked in for Rookie. Once upon a time, this was a massive pick for him as a player. Not so much in the recent years. We'll see if he can make the most of it, but it's Aatrox actually locked in here. That's Sylas jungle, that's Jace mid, and Aatrox top lane for IG.
All right, so Way getting his hands on the Sylas here. We do end up having that swap over. We need some flexibility for IG, and I love that they're throwing something into this, but it is Kael's Bard. If you're going to stop any kind of momentum in its tracks, I would want Kael on Bard immediately.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very scary look for AL. So many things that have been banned out against them early on throughout this whole series. Renekton, Trundle, you know, now Kael's Bard, even something like Shanks' Akali in Game 2 was banned. They got them all, and for IG, they're throwing stuff at the wall to try and make it stick, but, you know, Rookie's Jace, is that, you know, something that you feel comfortable going into a do-or-die moment for? He hasn't played it at all this split. Waze, Silas, he's not played it at all this split, and so there are a lot of question marks for IG. They clearly feel comfortable with this draft, but they're going to need to feel comfortable. It's their final shot in this series.
That's the craziest thing, is when we're looking at the road to the Silver Dragon Cup, the only time that this trophy will be available this year, IG, we're one of the favorites coming into the playoffs. It has not been the same IG that we've seen, and it hasn't been for a little while. They got manhandled by BLG, and now they're getting manhandled by AL. They've got to come out the better of it. Yes, I know there's the regional qualifiers in the future. Whatever. It's about the run for this cup. It's about Rookie and the rest of the team making good on a promise they set to their fans at the beginning of the year and trying to earn a championship this year and bring some of that respect back to Invictus Gaming. It's been years. For two of these members, TheShy and Rookie, it's been 6 years since they found a championship. And if they go out quietly like this, I will be heartbroken.
Heartbroken, to say the least. They have everything on the line here today. It's all going to be about if they can be the best versions of themselves. They are trying to recapture that IG glory. The final shot in the LPL playoffs, maybe for them, starts now.
Love to hear the IG potential still out there. All the fans that these guys have garnered over years are still out in full force. They've got themselves a little bit of a wonky draft. I'm really putting a ton of pressure on Wei himself on the Silas jungle. Tarzan has just been running this matchup all series long. 2 back-to-back MVPs in the series, and now Wei with a spicy pick to try to upend that.
This is definitely the most aggressive Wei has been all series long. This is the first time where it really feels like he wants to push that tempo early. We will see if he can utilize that, though. I think he does have some good matchups. Jace into Akali should be very favored, at least in the early laning phase. Varus, you know, despite the fact that it's MF Bard, actually should be in an okay spot here, but they're going to get spotted on his blue. At the very least, they will have vision of him.
I gotta say, I'm not that enthused at the ultis that he can grab. You know, we'll see what he gets the most value out of. Honestly, it might be Tempered Fate. But we'll see exactly how that all pans out for Wei. Still want to see how this jungle matchup ends up being, because Trundle is lethal as all get out in any situation. We see him banned away a lot, as we do see the first Silas jungle for the first time in 946 days. The last time we saw it was 2023 in the LPL, where Meteor took it against TT. I remember that. I think
that
did I cast? I don't remember.
That's crazy. shout out Meteor, pulling out that Silas jungle. We'll see if Wei can live up to the lofty expectations there, because he's gonna have to. Again, we've talked about it so much. You know, the expectations are so high for IG, and Meiko chief among them. As you can see, he's officially #1 on that total games played. 1,100 games for Meiko.
That's crazy. Could it be the final one of this 2025 season, barring the regional qualifiers? We will find out. But I'd say a couple quiet positions here from some of the key players, key pieces of IG. As Wei is trying to fight for his red buff, but AL know that the Silas isn't that strong earlier on, at least. He's going to try to catch Rookie. Rookie is getting pounced on by all 4 members. He's going to flash, but that ain't going to be enough. He goes down. Wei ends up getting the red buff, but Rookie is gone. The door is open. The bodyguard is gone.
This is almost identical to what AL did to Ninjas in Pajamas in Game 4 against them in the previous series. They invade at the red buff to try and catch the jungler off guard, and it's super successful. I will say Tarzan does have to set himself really far behind to do so, but first blood going to Hope in this game is massive. IG gonna try to pull something back with the invade here, though.
Might just be digging a hole for themselves, though, as Meiko's getting really... You don't fight a Trundle here. He's just gonna shred you. And now they're just wasting time trying to contest over that blue buff that just goes Tarzan's way.
Yeah, I mean, this is, once again, just well played by AL. They recognize that this is going to be kind of an invade here, and IG continuing to go for it. They're so deep. They're expending so many resources.
Now they're actually just going to fully commit, but they're on vision, as they will end up getting away the wolves. Kael definitely overextended. I think he thought they were a little crazy for that one, as he goes down anyways, and that'll be actually something pulled back from IG in this early game.
Yeah, honestly, that should have been a fine play. All things considered, Kael just walking too far forward on the Bard does give that kill back, and that's actually huge for IG. Now not only
wait.
stabilize Tarzan.
This is going wild over here. Tarzan is just trying to find his way in.
Gromp
The
is still
Gromp got
alive.
reset after all that, so hey, at least he still gets his jungle camp.
Yeah, somehow this actually turns out okay for Tarzan. So much time is wasted by Wei, but I guess Tarzan wasted some time too. I just figured the play there was probably to call it off and go take topside crab. No love lost. Both teams are going to tie it up at 1 kill apiece and be basically even in gold. As bad as that, early death for Rookie looked, it turns out to be all right for IG. They're very much still in this game, but, Wei looking aggressive early needs to keep that up.
Kael's going to be looking for roams. I want to see if Meiko wants to match that, and I want to talk about the support role a little bit more. I know I was setting it up to talk about Meiko earlier. Pretty quiet series from him. Kael has had the loud and triumphant entrance into this best of 5 so far, but I do like some of the cohesion we're seeing between him and Wei so far in this game number 3. And we are going to see the double scuttle actually go the way of Wei, and he is very far ahead of Tarzan at the moment in the jungle matchup.
Yeah, this is what winning out on that smite fight around the red buff will do. Tarzan had to expend so many resources in order to try to make that play happen. Still not the worst case scenario for Trundle. You can make an impact happen. I don't think you ever felt like you were going to dominate the early game anyways on this champion, so we'll see how he ends up proceeding, but really it's going to come down to the lane advantages, which AL does have in spades right now. Top, mid, and bot, all with, small degrees of leads, at least in their own individual lanes. We'll see how much they can keep that.
I gotta say, Shanks just hit level 6. Rookie doesn't have TP back. He is a full level down on Shanks. And that was some of the pressure that we saw early on. Also, this top lane starting to get a little out of hand in favor of Flandre. Something that IG were worried about was that Renekton all series long, but letting it through, feels like the floodgates might just be open. The dragon is another first dragon, Infernal Dragon, by the way. This is the 3rd game in a row we've had that, which maybe ups the tempo on that just a little bit, but we have seen the grubs are the real answer for both teams in these early scuffles. This time, for the first time, IG are not lane swapping.
Yeah, I think they really want that dragon in this game. They don't want to give that over in the way that they did previously. I think specifically because it's Infernal Dragon, and you have the poke comp to end all poke comps. You have Jace Varus as your carry duo here in the mid and bot lane, and so you really want to make sure that you have as much tempo as possible to try and pressure out that position. If you can set up early around that dragon, things get a lot easier for, the high range that they have available to them.
Yeah, that lethality is going to come back to be that siege potential for IG in some of these objective setups. There's going to be a little bit of vision play around this dragon here. Actually not going to be the case. IG going to leave it dark for now. I got to say Tarzan is pathing on the bot side. And we are going to get a redeploy from Gala to the mid lane. So giving them some options moving forward for these grub fights.
This is really interesting. We've seen this happen more, but moving Gala to mid lane, Wei moving his way up to top side.
He wants the Dominus. Take it. There you go. You got it. And be a tanky boy now.
Yeah, you got what you were looking for. Technically, still definitely worth it, but because Wei showing on the top side there, you are going to be able to get that dragon for free. Grubs have spawned as well, though. This is a good timer for IG to be able to pressure that. Basically forces AL into making this trade happen. I think this is overall good for both sides. You talked about it. The siege potential of Invictus is crazy high, which makes it really valuable for them to get as many of these grubs as possible. Whereas AL, I think, are in a good position to just kind of wait around Shanks' power spike, and they will get that advantage with that Infernal Dragon as well.
Tarzan just going to go be a menace in the enemy jungle here as Hope maybe getting caught out by the Chains of Corruption, insta-cleanse, and the magical journey to get out. Wow, it's going through the chickens there, by the way. There's no wall, but still the journey is taken nonetheless. Now Tarzan getting collapsed on by Rookie. Trying to contest this Rookie. I am surprised as he moves back over to try to get towards Wei and the rest of his team. The subjugation is kicking right now as Wei goes in with the dominance. He is not tanky enough, though. Shanks wants to finish him up, but Shanks stayed too long. He's going to flash over the wall there. Still does have an exit as he's going to try to get over to this side of the turret. Wei should be able to chase him down. Has the abscond duck coming back up, but the turret shots will do the work and give Rookie the kill. His first kill of the game.
Yeah, not really the ideal target to execute to with the Jace there, but definitely a great collapse from IG. It's a very aggressive look from Tarzan and from Shanks. They want to try and take advantage of the fact they're on top side. Flandre pops ult here. Teleport, though, coming in to try and punish this.
That's going to be Meiko TPing with the spell book. He's going to try to get over here and lock down Flandre, who does still have the dominance, can heal up from the double Q, but now it is not going to be much more for IG in this top side. Still do have one grub available. I wonder if teams are just going to let it go to the wayside here as IG looking to reform around this grub pit.
Yeah, I'm actually stunned to see this grub still alive with how much time IG were given in the pit, but I guess they just felt two were enough, and they don't really want to expend the resources to go after the next one. We'll see if they do end up cleaning that up at some point, as AL clearly have no intention of trying to commit resources towards it. At least for now, we are just looking at that
grub.
next spike. That poor grub, all alone.
By himself. Okay, it looks like Wei's coming over to give him some comfort. The release of death, I guess, in some regards, but it is IG looking a lot better in this Gala. I know we got excited about game 2. We were like, it's even at 10 minutes. That's awesome. Well, right now they have a small advantage at 10 minutes into the game, and they still have a comp that succeeds in this mid game. Speaking of, they know he doesn't have a cleanse, and Hope just taken down, dodging out of the Tempered Fate with the flash goes Gala, and that's a flashy play to get IG even more of an advantage.
Yeah, I think Kael would have been better served using that on his own AD carry to buy some time there, but just ends up being a really nice heads-up play and a big mistake from Hope as Shanks goes in.
I think Rookie might be in a little bit of trouble here. Perfect execution going to be utilized. He hits the shuriken flip and gets the kill. Shanks just masterfully executes Rookie, and that might just be a little bit of a counterplay coming in from IG as they do have the perfect execution from Wei. He wants to get, he dodges out the pillar! Tarzan blocks his way, and Tarzan comes up with the kill on the way.
It is masterfully played by AL. Shanks absolutely decimating Rookie in the 1v1, and then Tarzan and Shanks putting on a clinic in terms of their skirmish execution with a big, big victory. That gold lead that IG had generated, it's gone now, and especially because a lot of that gold is going over to Shanks on that Akali. Things are going a little bit worse, and these are the kinds of mistakes you just can't make. It's the little things that have really cost IG in this series, and once again, I think that happened here.
We're going to see an all-in on top side now as well. TP coming in. They're going to try to catch out TheShy. He's got the World Ender ticking. Going to be just fine. Meanwhile, an engage cross map, though, onto Tarzan. Pillar's going to be used as Kael has an exit for him, but he's not going to take it. It is just a little bit dicey for IG, not coming up with the solid plays that they wanted in the early game here. They're going to collapse onto this bot side now, but they are going to be under vision and seen doing this. It's actually now Gala and Meiko. We're going to hold tight. Try to catch out whoever came over and answered. Now they're really extended. Meiko, he's about to get ran down by Flandre. Wants to use the slice and dice to get through him. They got the Tempered Fate there onto Gala as well. And now he's the turn. He's stuck. Gala can't move and Gala's down.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's everything going wrong for IG. Gala is stuck in the worst possible position you could be in as an AD carry, and he's the one with all the gold, and all of a sudden, everything is spiraling out of control. They try to overload on the bot side to potentially pressure this tier 1 tower, and they just fail miserably. AL calls their bluff and just plays it better. We're going to see how this goes. First off, this is, I believe, the 1v1.
No, please,
We're getting not the rookie replay here. Shanks just dancing on him, man. This Akali is disgusting. He's been doing this the entirety of the playoffs, and at this point, this looks like a good re-engage for IG, but Kael shows up, and really, when you talk about a hand stiff, this is what a hand stiff looks like. Wei going in, just getting blocked off by the pillar. It's perfect, unintended from Tarzan as we jump back to live here.
And Tarzan might just be looking at himself with another MVP for this one. If you want one person to step up when it matters most, Tarzan has been the guy for anyone's legend. He's who helped lead the way in their first ever championship as an organization, and he is who is leading the way in this lower bracket run. IG are struggling to come up with answers. They have dominance for Wei. They look to try to catch a Kael, but he's going to flash away. Now Dragon is the focus. They're stepping up, but Flandre's got his dominance popped in the side. Wei needs to pop his soon to get this value out. They catch Kael. Tarzan going to come around the way. Kael gets out, though, with the magical journey. Now Shanks comes in with the execution. Wei's going to be in trouble, too. He gets pounced on. He can't get anything. He's down. 3 members are gone, and Gala's about to join them. IG have no hope left, and AL have completely mastered the domination of Invictus Gaming.
The mid-games that have plagued anyone's legend throughout the entirety of split number 3, that have been their nemesis for every bit of their lower run, they are coming to fruition finally for anyone's legend as they start to dominate these skirmishes. It comes down to everyone, and it might not be over. Tarzan hovering around the bot side. We get a teleport down here.
TP play, and Tarzan's already behind him. TheShy had no idea. Maybe a little bit of rage pushing as he's going to be run down by Flandre and Co. Hopes even getting in there with the Bloodthirster. He is taking no damage, takes a big Q3, but it doesn't matter. Tarzan comes up with another kill. The 3-0-4 Trundle, and the Nightmare breathes life into itself here for anyone's legend. I am starting to see the end of the tunnel here.
So much for 0-0-0 on TheShy. He ends up getting picked off in the side lane here. IG will be able to grab that Rift Herald as a consolation prize, but they're going to lose so much on the bottom side. Even if they do trade this top lane turret, just continues to go from bad to worse. But for IG, I mean, this just has to feel like a very demoralizing way for game number 3 to go. Not only were you favorites in this series, this was a team that was being talked about at the beginning of playoffs like one of the best in the entire league, and now your back is firmly planted against the wall. And we'll see how the rest of this game goes.
Rift Herald did get taken there, but we take a look back at this fight, and IG, they overextended for sure.
Yeah, that is definitely not a great setup for IG. I think it looks okay if you are able to land the kill onto Kael, because Trundle and Renekton, both Tarzan and Flandre, are a bit separated, but the problem is it's a Bard. You can't execute Kael. He's just going to have all of that safety, and Shanks is just popping off in these fights. This guy's looked so good on Akali. We get the pop-off. We get the emotion. We get the feeling coming in from AL. I can't imagine just how relieving this is to see out of this team.
My heart wanted this series to be a banger, for these teams to leave everything out on the floor, and unfortunately it feels like IG just never showed up, which is heart-wrenching in its own right. I mean, like we had shown, that's why I wanted to talk about the last time a lot of these players had reached a championship. I don't care about the international success. World champion is all good, but you also want to have that success at home, in your domestic region. And it has been 6 long years for Rookie. I know, like, that's why I highlight Rookie more than TheShy, because it's been 6 years for TheShy too, but he took a break. He was away from play. Rookie has not. He has been grinding. He's gone through health issues. He's gone through every run imaginable, almost making it to the tippy top so many times on different rosters, on different iterations, on different undefeated teams, on V5, all the way back to all these years. 6 long years we have waited for Rookie to find himself a finals again, and we are not going to get it.
Yeah, it couldn't happen on V5, it couldn't happen on Top Esports, it couldn't happen on Ninjas in Pajamas, and right now, even the return to IG looks unlikely for him to bear the fruit that he was looking for as a top 2 team. It's certainly been frustrating for Rookie, a player who at times has looked good, at times has looked, you know, inconsistent. I think this year has really felt like a return to form in some ways for Rookie, and for it all to come crashing down in this moment certainly is a bit sad, but actually at least looking to make a play on the top side. But Shanks is just, he's so...
Dude, Shanks is styling on him, man.
There's no way you catch Akali.
Yeah, there's literally no way. It's crazy. Rift Herald is going to be up and available for IG. Probably going to try to use it in this mid lane. Could see it used in the bot lane outer turret. But this is AL's show, and the next objective will secure feats of strength for either side. I think that's going to be potential tussle around the dragon in about 1 minute and 15 seconds. So, is there any promise, any hope that is not named hope on AL that IG have in this next fight?
Oh boy, that's a tough one to feel confident in answering positively for IG. They still do have a ton of poke damage coming in. Again, items are coming through. Second item just completed here by Gala. That could be a difference maker. This Varus can do quite a bit of damage, but you have to set up first. IG have to be in the area so they can start poking out AL. They go into it with half health bars, maybe, but
oh, TheShy is scared. TheShy is terrified. You feel it shivering, shaking. IG, they might be faltering as he gets pounced on. Now he's going to be taken down. Shanks was looking for an angle. Tempered Fate hits him right in the gut, and now Shanks is looking to execute their lives. He gets locked down, though. He's fully CC'd down. The CC chain isn't up, and Shanks going to perfectly execute his way out. He survives, and Wei gets stopped in his tracks. Meanwhile, the Rift Herald's going to be driven by Meiko. He's trying to take down Shanks, but won't find the angle. Just going to deliver it down to bot lane, and IG, they do make it out of the fight. They got to try to turn this into something here with this bot lane.
Yeah, it's a miscommunication, and this play's not over. There still is a potential fight happening.
The dragon hasn't even spawned.
Yeah, the dragon's not even up. It's spawning now, and it should be IG's, which at the very least stops the stacking, but that could have been an absolutely massive fight. A bit of a miscommunication on AL. I hope we get a replay there. Hope's bullet time ends up going directly into Kael's Tempered Fate. Certainly not an ideal set of circumstances. Way. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's a little bit troublesome there as he's going to flash. Okay. He said yes. I do want Gala. I'm going to get a little help from Kael as Gala's flash is not going to get him away from the pillar, and Tarzan takes a big old chop out of IG's heart.
Yeah, I mean, you know, only sacrificing one member for that play honestly feels okay. Unfortunately, it does have to be Gala, who has the most amount of resources on your team at the current moment. You don't want to be giving free kills onto the Varus, but what that means is that Otacon should be free here. Not that that was ever too much in question, but may I direct your attention to the pedal difference right now between these two teams? And this is before Otacon.
It's not a lane difference, it's a pedal difference, all right?
Exactly.
The pedals are falling. And IG's season might be changing, might be altering into focused entirely on making it to Worlds, because AL are ending their run here. We look in the picture-in-picture. TheShy gets out from the initial barrage, but it's the pillar that finds him again. A pick kill going over to Shanks, and that's also the turret. Tier 2 going the way of Hope.
They are actually just killing him for fun at this point.
I can't watch anymore, man. My stomach's actually upset. Like, this is brutal, man. This has been a brutal series. Honestly, I think IG are going to just have to be done with it. They've had moments, mere moments of success in this series, and AL look like the beast we've known them to be that we were missing out on.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. This is the AL we hoped and prayed to see in this series, and they are giving us exactly that. This is looking like the team that won the LPL, that won finals, went to MSI. We've talked about it a lot, but, you know, these are 5 players that just came off of an international run, and they've just not been able to recapture that form. This is an international caliber team right now that we are seeing in this series, and I don't know if you could ask for much more from AL as a response.
And who does this? Who goes out and gets red side and wins 3 games in a row? I feel like there's not a lot of teams that do that in this day and age across the world, let alone the LPL. And honestly, we're getting back to those moments where, like, okay, we're starting to see the combination of draft strength from Tabe and Co. into the execution level that we're getting from this team and what made them such a promising sight going into that MSI for the LPL. So this team is hungry. They are very, very motivated to make it to that finals and earn themselves a back-to-back championship, which we just saw last year with BLG.
Yeah, we've had these consistent, you know, winners coming out of the LPL being so dominant over the past couple of years. JDG in 2023, BLG in 2024, really being able to run the league. Felt like AL might not follow in their footsteps for a majority of this split, but they certainly are looking a lot closer to those super teams than they have, you know, in the last couple of weeks for sure. Looks like they'll close it out here. I just want to give a lot of credit to their drafting as well, though. You know, as much as we talk about Tabe.
Absolutely.
Like, these drafts are so perfectly created to help the team and their skill set. See Tarzan going in.
Wait, dude, Tarzan is just holding his pillar. He's threatening it. And now, Rookie, you're going to have to flash. Meiko's going to have to get over with the crash. Somebody gets tempered fated. And now Hope is going to move forward. Was waiting to pull the trigger on him. Wasn't going to find anything in the end. It's just a bit of a siege in the mid lane. And AL force out some summoner spells.
Yeah, I mean, the worst case scenario for AL in these fights is if they force a ton of sums from IG. It really, it's a tough position to find yourself back in. Very least, you're not running things down. Theoretically, again, you have some poke on your side. You've got identical builds here for Rookie and for Gala. There could be a way to potentially do enough damage to win a very discoordinated fight, but it's on AL to throw at this point. If they play their own game, they should have this one in the bag.
And dude, the entire series might just be, I know we're far away from it, but it might just be a statement MVP series from Tarzan. I mean, this has been a completely one-sided jungle diff all 3 games.
Yeah, I think that's honestly putting it a bit lightly in terms of how things have gone. Look, you know, you don't have to convince me. I was calling him the best jungler in the world before MSI when this guy was playing this way in the LPL consistently. You know, I know that there's a lot of controversy surrounding that take, but I think Tarzan is so important towards this AL team that when he ends up playing at his best, there's really not a lot of people who can match him. Wait, getting a little bit shut down there by the portal, but Tarzan just walking up and chomping him down.
Yeah, I mean, the utility between these two, between Tarzan and Kael, the tempered fade into the pillars, it's been so many times that we've seen IG caught out because of it. Now Dragon is going to be started up. Last Dragon was secured by IG, so they put a little bit of tampering on the Dragon stacking for AL, but now Flandre has a massive flank. Tempered Fate going to come in. It hits Gala. They want to commit to this. Bullet time coming out behind it. He still gets hit by the chain, and Shanks just ends his life right there. And that might just be the end of IG in these playoffs. One more perfect execution from Shanks is going to eliminate IG from this very plane of existence. They will have to look forward to the Worlds Qualifying Regional Finals, and that is going to be AL retaining dominance in this lower bracket. It has been a story of comeback for this team, and it looks like nothing can stop them now.
Nothing can stop AL. That is absolutely correct. We see supportal combat happening. Kael chasing down Meiko. It will all be just for the highlight reel as AL takes the Baron. On the other side, Ignite is dropped. Meiko's going to live. I'm not sure he has the damage to kill him.
This is the supportal combat we know and love. He's speeding up.
Oh, no way.
Run away, Meiko. Run away. Hi-ho, Silver, away.
They're teleporting.
Oh, Kael killed him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. The dragon spawning, I think, maybe has a little bit to do with the fact that AL's putting the resources down here. But with that Baron buff available, I think it's pretty realistic for this team to just pick a lane and, you know, run it down. I'm not sure there's going to be much that IG can do at this point to stop the push coming in. That's a 7-kill Akali. It's a 5-kill Trundle. Even Misfortune at this point is very strong. It's going to be difficult. We see that happening in the bot lane.
IG on their last gasp efforts, another game, a third in a row with a 10,000 gold deficit, and AL just need to put the finishing touches on IG now. Wei was trying to get some of his jungle, but going to be pushed out. Tempered Fate gonna hit on again on the Gala. They're just gonna run him down here. This might just be point in place where IG die in the playoffs as they are being taken down a peg, and a whole peg at that, as AL gonna go straight down the mid lane, and this team will not be stopped. The freight train is cold up and ready to go as they're looking to take down IG and crest that momentum straight into JD. The final Nexus turret falls. Kael's the final focus here. One more big bullet time, but it's AL time, and the Panda era is alive and well. The Nexus is all that stands between IG and waiting to see them in regionals, as AL have completely wasted Invictus Gaming.
There is your lot. That series was dominant from anyone's legend. That word might not even be strong enough to describe how good this team looked here today. If you wanted a statement, if you wanted a message sent to every other team, sent to JD Gaming, sent to Top Esports and Billy up in the upper bracket, well, here is your statement. AL is a team that you can't just be looking at as lower bracket fodder, as a third, fourth place team. This team is coming for the crown, and they are looking to regain every bit of glory that they had last split.
I'm so happy for AL. It's an awesome run. I cannot wait to see what they do against JDG. I think if they're playing like this, that might just be a 3-0. I could go change my predictions there, but for IG, it's over. There will not be an Invictus Gaming Championship. There will not be a hoisting of the Silver Dragon Cup for the first time in 6 years for Rookie and TheShy. That dream, it is dead, and AL killed it. And I think that is heartbreaking nonetheless, with some of the great performances we've seen from IG across split number 2, coming into split number 3. They were one of the favorites coming into the playoffs, and it's all gone.
It truly is a sad end for them, at least in their domestic playoff run. Luckily, they still have some options to get to Worlds, and I think that's really going to be the silver lining for them coming out of this series, because as terrible as this feels, and quite frankly, this was a bad performance from them on every level, if you can figure out what the problems are, you know, Worlds is absolutely attainable for this team. You have to be able to make those adjustments, though, because this was a confidence killer, a momentum killer. Anything that this team had coming out of the regular season, any sort of mental advantage they had, it's all gone here. They need to rely on their ability to bounce back now.
3 blue side losses feels so bad. They will have a lot of time to get themselves prepped up for those regional qualifiers, but now they have to watch and see as we see somebody else hoist that trophy. And for AL, it feels like it might be the time. The come up is now, and they are just firing on all cylinders. Like, IG didn't look like IG in this game. I think you have to credit in that way. If the factor is that they just absolutely completely handled this team from top to bottom, like, what other team can stand before them besides a team like BLG, besides a team like Top Esports? And now I'm looking at JDG saying, do you have the stuff, man? I don't know. This team has been so rocky, and now AL look like they're coming for blood.
Look, you know, I think you can talk about, you know, JDG not having the most consistent gameplay. FaZe is really good. He's a really, really good AD carry, and you can get some great performances out of players like Xiaoshu and Shun on the top side of that map as well. You can't take them for granted, but, I mean, you're looking at this AL team. If you want my opinion and my prediction here, if this is the AL team that shows up against JDG, you know, if Invictus couldn't handle him, I certainly don't think JDG can. That certainly would be the conversation. AL, this entire league is in their hands if they perform like this.
Yeah, they have an oyster, if you will, for them to open up and get a pearl, because it would be nice to see AL cap their long year off with another cup, and the cup, the Silver Dragon Cup, but they've got a long way to get there. I think it still is a shocker to have found them in that lower bracket so early, but now they're reaping the benefits. I know we hear players talk all the time about lower bracket momentum. It's why we see lower bracket runs come out so often, is because you are the team that is winning if you're moving forward, and the team you're facing is coming from a loss, and a lot of time devastating loss. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I mean, plot armor's real. In the LPL, I don't know what to tell you. Sometimes you just get into a situation where you find that groove, you find that momentum, you find that confidence, and you're able to carry it through. We're seeing it right now in the upper bracket with Billy Gaming, this team that, you know, made a small substitution in round number 1. They're on to winners finals. You know, I'm not saying that it's definitely possible for us to be sitting here looking at a finals rematch, but, you know, all of this talk about, you know, other teams, you know, emerging, Top Esports and Invictus